If you want to talk about broad shoulders, look at this guy. Okay, calm down. The intro was just a joke. Anyways, how's it going, guys? It is Plastic Disasta back with another review. And today we are going to take a look at the high-grade Universal Century Byarlant Custom from the Gundam Unicorn anime. Now, I've always been fond of the Byarlant mobile suit, like the design, the weapon layout. Well, even though it doesn't hold any weapons, but the arms are the weapons. You want to know what's funny? This kit came out in 2012, and probably more than 10 years later, Bandai finally made the regular Byarlant. Yes, I do have it. I'll review it sooner or later. Anyway, so taking a look at the box side, we see the Byarlant Custom, or Byarlant. I don't know how you guys pronounce it, but I'll just say Byarlant throughout the review. Going back to what I said, we see the Byarlant being a badass. Take a look at this side of the box, just shows the action poses, the marking stickers, and not only you can give it to the Byarlant, but you can also share it to other Earth Federation mobile suits. And it also shows off the gimmicks and articulation. Looking at this side of the box, we have the front and rear shot of the model kit. We got some nice CG render and what the mobile suit looks like in the anime, along with some information. And after opening the box, we got 5 bags of runners and a manual. Looking at the cover of the manual is basically the kit all put together along with some information. And if you open it up, we got some more information of the Byarlant Custom along with images from the anime. And right down there is an advertisement of other HGUC model kits. And taking a quick look at the parts list, looks like we are going to use all of them, except we're going to have a few leftover polycaps. Taking a quick look at the parts list, looks like we are going to use all of them, but we are going to have a few leftover polycaps. And look at the back of the manual, we have a new action pose, a familiar rear shot showing off the articulation and details once again, a familiar CG render, and a color guide if you're planning on painting it. Starting off with runner A, along with 2 runner Bs are going to be the light gray parts, and I don't know if it's me, but it does look like it has a tiny bit of light blue in it, like a hint of it. Got runners C1 and C2 are going to be the very dark navy blue parts. Runner D is going to be the gray parts. Runner E is going to be the dark red parts. Runner F is going to be the yellow parts. Runner G is going to be the green parts, and I don't know if this joke is intentional because green starts with the letter G. Runner H is going to be more of the gray joint parts. Runner I is going to be the I parts. I don't know if it's another intentional joke right there. You got Polycat Runner, Beam Saber Effect parts. And finally, you got a big color correcting sticker along with some marking stickers. So that's going to be it for the unboxing portion, and I am so excited to put this kit together. And I know I'm going to have some work ahead of me, but you know what? I don't mind that. Now, the question is, will this kit win my heart like how it did in the anime? We'll find out after I put it together. Alright, here we got the Byarlant all built and painted. Now, I know it may sound obvious because due to design and how unique it is, the build does feel different. Like, let's say you've built a bunch of high-grade regular mobile suits and you never built the Byarlant Custom. And let's say you decide to jump into this kit, it'll feel like a nice change of pace. I realize I've been dragging this for a little too long and I should have summarized it in a few words. As for painting experience, now let's just say you're building this kit like straight out of the box, no work, no panel line, no painting. You notice that it could use more of a certain color. Red. But I will give credit where credit is due. If you ever look at the out-of-box presentation, it doesn't look that bad. Since we're still on the topic of out-of-box presentations, let's take a look at the seam lines. And trust me, there is a handful. Moving on to top, we got one on the shoulders, and moving further down, look at these little sub arms right here. We got a seam line right here, and I could have sworn I'm taking care of it, but that's a tricky one. Like front and the back, you see right there. And if you look closely right here on the thigh, there's one going up and down. And you also got seam lines on the backpack, like one going up and down right here, and another one going up and down right here on the tanks. Let's move on to sticker placement. Now, this little sticker right here goes onto the top of the head right here. Moving on to the arms, there's a lot to cover. So these stickers, they go onto this part of the shoulder thrusters. And these big red stickers, they go right here. And these little yellow stickers, they go onto this little part of the shoulder right here. I know you can barely see it. And you got these 4 little red stickers, they go onto the forearms right here. You just gotta pay attention which side goes to where. Now, moving on to the torso and down, these little light gray stickers, they are wrapped around on the red thrusters right here. And next up, these little black stickers, they go onto the shin, but I painted gray instead. Now, these 2 black stickers, this one goes onto the crosspiece right here, and this one goes onto this big thruster in the back. But that's about it for the out-of-box presentation. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the out-of-box presentation looks pretty decent, but if you really look at it, it could use some work to make it look nice. So now moving on to accessories, starting off with hand options. Well, you don't get any because you got these claw hands and they move. I'll show you in the articulation. But at least you get these beam saber effect parts. You plug it in onto these little nubs right here and it looks pretty cool, ready to hack and slash. And you also get this little action-based connector if you want to, well, connect an action-based stand. So moving on with articulation, the head is on a ball joint, and you also get this cool little joint that if you lift the head up, not too far. What I meant to say is that if you lift the head up, like this little joint right here, it can do some nice flying poses. Now moving on to the torso, it is on a ball joint, so it does everything what a ball joint does. Now moving on to the arm, here's where it gets a little interesting. So starting off with the shoulder, it can swing forwards and backwards. It can also rotate as well. This full flap right here can move up and down. And this big shoulder, you also get a little bit of up and down. Now moving a little further out, there's a ball joint right here, and on the shoulder thruster, there's a ball joint right here, and it can move up and down as well. Now moving on to the arm itself, it can rotate like usual. It can swing backwards and forwards. The elbow bends like normal. You got this little bit right here, which can move on its own, and the claws do move like I mentioned earlier. Now moving on to this waist, you got this little itty bitty side skirt which can rotate and can move down and up just a little bit. You also got this little thigh piece on a ball joint as well, and since we're on the thigh, it can swing forward this far, it can swing back that far, and as for the splits, well, due to design, it can't do a full split. You also get a thigh rotation. Bend at the knee, just about 90. And since we're on the legs, I forgot to mention earlier that these stickers right here, they go onto the back of the legs right here. You got this little ankle armor which can rotate and looks like it's on a, well, even though it almost looks like it's on a ball joint, but it's actually a peg. And now we're on the foot. It is on a ball joint on the back of the heel. These can move up and down. Just try not to move it too much, otherwise it will fall out. The toe bends down, which is pretty cool. And as for the pivot, it's not so bad. Now moving on to the backpack. These can rotate, can flap forwards and backwards, and the big tank right here can rotate and it can move in and out. And moving further down to the backpack, these flaps can open and close. Overall, the articulation on this kit is actually quite good. You can actually pull off some really neat poses, and I know the one I'm showing you right now is pretty cruel. But when you put on an action-based stand, you can achieve a lot more. Now moving on to size comparisons, here it is right next to a fellow Earth Federation mobile suit, the standard size GM. Obviously, the Byarlant Custom towers over the GM. I mean, come on, the Byarlant Custom, it's only like 20.6 meters tall. And since the Byarlant Custom is always in the air, let's compare it to a mobile suit that's always underwater, the Zaku 2 Mariner. Now, who will win a fight between those two? You know what's funny? The Byarlant Custom has a small torso and big shoulders. Well, here it's right next to Son, who has the opposite of that, which is Morphous Cybertron Optimus Prime. And here it is right next to SD Ariel and a Lego Clone Trooper. So that's going to be it for the size comparisons. Let's move on to my final thoughts. So moving on to my final thoughts. Well, I'm going to say this. This kit will definitely meet your expectations. I mean, what can I say? It does everything what the Byarlant Custom should do. And yeah, the kit did came out in 2012, so some areas does show its age, but hear me out, it ages pretty well. But I know I did say the out-of-box presentation looks decent, but if you want to make it look nice with just minimal effort, you might want to get out of your comfort zone. And I know there are some really good builders who could do a better job than I did. And since I'm dragging this a little too long, I'll just say I recommend it. Pick it up, build it, handle it. You'll like it as much as I did. Okay, so that's going to be it for the review. I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more content like this, and if you're new here, be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out. Questions, concerns, comment down below. I'll see you in the next one. Yeah, the Goku Cannon doesn't stand a chance.